It's another beautiful day outside today, so I couldn't help myself but film outside again. It's another midweek moment. Do you remember when you were a kid that there was likely a tone or tenor in your parents' voice, or there was something in their body language that just told you, without them ever having to say a word to you, you were in some trouble of some kind? There were always some indicators to let you know that you had taken some sort of an action or said something that maybe your parents thought required some correction on their part, and you were about to face discipline. I don't know if it was like this for you, but for me growing up, and anytime I heard that tone or I felt that body language, there was just a twinge of fear within me of wondering what discipline I was about to face and how that was going to affect my immediate plans for the future. I think it's because of that sense of fear that we tend to really not like this week's buzzword, and it's why so many churches seem to be abandoning it entirely. And that buzzword is discipline. Nobody wants to be disciplined. We don't want to face it. We have heard horror story after horror story of the way that some churches have embarrassed and even humiliated people, all in the name of discipline. But here's the thing, and please try to hear me out for the next few minutes, because I know this is nobody's favorite subject, and to be completely transparent with you, I'm a little uncomfortable talking about it myself. At its heart, discipline should be an act of love. Discipline is meant to bring correction over an action or a behavior that Scripture knowingly calls sinful, something that we know is wrong, whether that action is taken knowingly or unknowingly. And when you were a kid, chances are the reason why your parents would discipline you is because they knew that if they didn't, you might continue to do those things, and it would lead you down a path that you did not want to be on in the long haul. I know this is probably not the case for some of you out there listening to this, and I believe me, my heart goes out to you, but believe it or not, for a lot of people, the discipline that they would face from their parents was meant to be an act of love. It probably did not feel that way in the moment, but your parents more than likely disciplined you out of the love that they had for you. They wanted to bring about correction to help you in the long run. Church discipline should work the same way. And again, I'm using that word, should. It seems far too often in our world that church discipline is one of two completely different dynamics. Either it is almost too authoritative, calling people to the carpet over things that are small, minute, and almost trivial to even discuss, or it doesn't happen at all. Here's the thing. Both of those dynamics are equally wrong. To not have any sort of discipline or address any issues doesn't benefit anyone anything. It doesn't help the church to rid itself of problematic behaviors that only get worse with time. It doesn't benefit the person who's in need of that correction, and it doesn't help usher them into spiritual maturity. But on the other side of things, too heavy a disciplinary hand creates fear, mistrust, tensions, anxiety, and a world of hurt to people who are in need of healing. It leads to people not just walking away from that church, it leads them in some cases to walking away from faith entirely because they've been given a complete misrepresentation of who Jesus is. Both dynamics are wrong. And like a lot of things in life, the reality of church discipline is that it needs to be somewhere in the middle. In fact, Jesus himself actually gave us steps as a guideline for how to handle church discipline in Matthew chapter 18, verses 15 through 17. There we read, "If your brother sins against you, go and tell him his fault between you and him alone. If he listens to you, you have gained your brother. But if he does not listen, take one or two others along with you, that every charge may be established by the evidence of 2 or 3 witnesses. If he refuses to listen to them, tell it to the church. And if he refuses to listen even to the church, let him be to you as a Gentile and a tax collector. Church discipline does need to happen from time to time, but it should always be done out of our love for the person or the people themselves. It should be done cautiously, not maliciously, gently, not aggressively, judiciously, not vengefully. And as difficult as it may be, we should be willing to listen to the correction of those who are ultimately trying to help us grow in our faith and in our maturity. Discipline is not easy. It is not easy to give. It is certainly not easy to receive. But it is good. Again, our book for this month is the absolute all-time classic, C.S. Lewis's Mere Christianity. I cannot express to you how influential this book has been in my own walk with Christ. And I know that it is something that will be incredibly helpful for you should you choose to read it. I know that right now on Amazon, I just looked this up today, you can get this book for about $12. If you've got Prime, you get it for free shipping. You can get it within a couple of days if you haven't done so already. You can also go to christianbook.com and you can get a copy for $11 plus shipping. Shipping probably going to take a little bit longer that way. I know you could probably find this at Barnes & Noble here in Ontario, or you can probably find it at a used bookstore, anywhere you might find one of those. You could probably even find it within your library. But whatever the investment might be for you to be able to read this book, I promise you it is money well spent, so long as you actually go to read the book. But for this month, do yourself a favor and read C.S. Lewis's Mere Christianity. This has been your Midweek Moment. Take care of yourselves.